Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
Yeah, I'm Aaron.
This is Seeking Me Productions. Bring you a new movie review.
Okay, so I didn't think I was going to come out here and I was going to watch this film considering how this franchise has, found itself over the past couple of years. And of course, I'm talking about the Fantastic Beasts movies.
And the movie in question is The Secrets of Dumbledore. This film has a lot of baggage.
Yeah,
and
there's no way going into it you're not going to understand the controversies that have followed it up until from its production up until now its release.
And if you haven't, wow, I envy you a little bit. I don't envy nobody, not really. But yeah, it's probably be blissful feelings if you didn't know all the behind the scenes drama, and
yeah,
we'll rank them all. Because I feel as though anybody who's doing a review for this film should acknowledge what is happening.
Yeah,
so
it's very much ingrained with the film itself. You can't separate them.
So there's a quick right off the bat. These are the problems in which the film finds itself in.
First and foremost, on the top of the list has to deal with the franchise's creator in and of itself, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, at the start of this franchise, this new series of films, J.K. Rowling decided to put herself into the more involved, role in the making of these movies as being the screenwriter. And for the first two movies, she was the sole screenwriter or sole credited screenwriter for this franchise, and it shows definitely, as of course these films, that she does not have that talent.
No, it's just because you're able to write stories for a novelization does not necessarily translate well that you can do so when it has to be done so for a movie adaptation or television, vice versa.
You also have J.K. Rowling as the person in and of itself, because she has found herself into a very steeply political situation as opposed to with her opinions on the trans community.
When your personal problems seem to piggy itself back onto the work that you produce, then there's a serious issue there. Mm-hmm. Those two things will really be separate, and not everybody has it within themselves to separate the art from the artist.
And what we find ourselves on a visual issue with the Fantastic Beasts films is from the casting developments of the one role of Grindelwald.
Yes, this is a role that quite honestly has been taken on by quite a few actors. I believe at this point we could definitely count up at least 5 of them in total. Can't necessarily give you all their names, but the two specific individuals that we want to focus on is the last couple that actually took on the role itself. Of course, we're talking about Johnny Depp and now Mads Mikkelsen.
The behind-the-scenes situation that Warner Brothers find themselves in with the couple domestic allegations from both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that at the end of the day resulted in Johnny Depp having to be let go from that particular job and role itself, and thus having to bring on board Mads Mikkelsen to fill his place.
People say that you're supporting the people, the very people that are the problems with it.
But in our point of view, yes, of course, when you look at a movie, you're only thinking about, at least for the mass majority of individuals out there, they're only really thinking about the actors, the directors, or the above the line credit. Yeah, but we're here not just for the above the line credit. We're also here for below the line credits. The individuals who also are working behind the scenes.
People who are not necessarily going to get the back end deals that most of these other above the line talent will get.
The unsung heroes.
Yes. So what about the story? So the story of The Secrets of Dumbledore. Right off the bat, we can say that is a vast improvement from the previous films. Right here, we have a very more focused story, mostly thanks to Steve Klove's inclusion as a screenwriter, that helps focuses on the main plots of what people are more interested in from the get-go when they first introduced this series.
Yeah. This whole series was basically writing the concept that we were going to finally get to see the battle between Albus Dumbledore and Geralt Grindelwald. That was
more like the conflict that brewed way before Harry Potter's time in the Wizarding World.
You know, the battle of the Dark Lord before Voldemort rose to power.
And the movie takes that front and center. It used to be the B plot of the Fantastic Beasts, but now is the main plot.
Exactly.
But not to say that Newt Scamander's story, he's not involved. In fact, this is very much so the first true film in which both the Fantastic Beasts title and the Grindelwald Dumbledore storyline are one the same.
Yeah, it's done. Both those two plot points are melded together the appropriate way they always should have been in this franchise, at least from this particular variation of the story itself.
At this point in the game, if you have been still supporting these stories, like this, like you're going to be getting like a little bit more the same as usual, but a lot more focus. But if you're not, then it actually is kind of understandable if you haven't been interested at all. Not to say that this the story doesn't have some pitfalls. In fact, it's one main issue that I can clearly state is that if despite its more focused story, it does fail to do some of the age-old thing that cinema is meant to do.
It's the sin that no film should make, but it's unfortunately still here, and that is show don't tell.
Still, the film finds itself as having exposition for this, to help really understand the plot. And a lot of it is done audibly. In fact, the movie it's being called The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Yeah, a lot of those are secrets that are just given in conversation rather than in flashbacks or particular scenes where it should have been presented through a visual medium on screen.
And not to spoil anything, but a lot of the secrets, aside of just one, which is a carryover from the first, from the Crimes of Grindelwald, a lot of the secrets before that are actually things that the audiences have already been told.
Or fans of the series.
And knew in Deathly Hallows. So if you watch Deathly Hallows, a lot of the reveals were already told in this film.
So it's just like we're still retreading some areas where we definitely
should have just at least got that integral a series of flashbacks that actually show what went on. Especially since it would definitely support one of the lingering plot points, subplots for one particular character.
Yeah.
I feel as though some of the earlier scenes should have been reshot in a way to help build up the pacing, so it can also add in a little bit more of that fleshing out the political aspects of what that film is trying to do. But still, the main focus is very resonant throughout what the Fantastic Beasts wanted to tell.
But I mean, I want to take it back towards looking at those characters in themselves and go a little bit more deeper as to how they relate in this particular film. Let's look back at the main antagonist, Geralt Grindelwald.
Now played by Mads Mikkelsen.
Again, there's no way that you're going to separate the controversies that came with this particular character. There is I feel as though there is. Because it's a distinct difference between how Mads approaches the role compared to how Johnny Depp approached it, and I feel as though part of that is geared towards the way that they were both directed and written, as well as the unique attributes that both actors bring to the table themselves.
Basically, the main difference of which these both Johnny Depp and Mads Mikkelsen brings is that Johnny Depp was more of a theatrical, lavish depiction of Grindelwald, while Mads Mikkelsen is more subdued.
Subdued, reserved, but I will also venture to say he was a lot more how would say a little bit more angry or a little more furious. I would say
there was a hint of angst in his performance that that you can feel underneath the building tension and it suits well with the plot of this film.
Yeah, it does.
But that's basically the main difference between his performance and Johnny Depp's. Jude Law reprising his role as a young Dumbledore,
and he plays it well. I feel as though I fell in love with his performance when he was first brought on, in the last movie, and this movie definitely surmounts that he is Dumbledore for these times.
This film in particular helped highlight the confrontation between him and Grindelwald, as in I like to compare it more like if Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, or more comic book terms, Professor X and Magneto, had this conflict, but the only difference is they had a relationship, like an actual romantic relationship. Yet again, we still are Fantastic Beasts, Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne. Better utilized throughout the films.
A little, but he's not as much the focus as he was in the last couple of films. But
he's like a major supporting character.
Exactly, and that's definitely where this movie shines with that particular character. This is where he needs to be.
Of one of the relationships that's built upon, that's improved, that I like from Crimes of Grindelwald to carry over from that, because he was introduced, was his brother Theseus. And this movie, because due to circumstances from what happened, this one they felt very much so as a partnership between brothers. It's like a complete duo. So it, like usually when this series was introduced, Dan Fogel's and Jacob Kowalski, he was the duo. He was basically his Newt Scamander's right hand man, and he's brought back in this film too. And he's always a joy to see. He's definitely a character that feels out, no matter who you are, old school Potter fan or Fantastic Beasts fan, feels out. Everybody can agree that Jacob is a delight when he's on screen. He's essentially the heart of the whole franchise. From his performance, especially with his love interest of Queenie Goldstein, played by Alison Sodom. And then I feel as though this movie kind of brings their story even a little bit more closer there, and I enjoyed that. So in some ways, this is a very romantic film. It's on very fronts. But it's also a sad film. The somberness does the. Is very it's very felt, especially in this runtime. Help round up the characters. I feel as though the best new character introduced in this film is probably Professor Hicks. Love her. Lolly Hicks. Yeah, Lolly Hicks. Professor Lolly Hicks is probably by far one of my favorite characters that this series has brought forth. She was a complete delight from her start to the finish. It's radiant. Her presence was radiant. Yes, I love her. She came out of nowhere. I need more of her. But yes, let's move on to production, because if anything's gonna be who helped try to hold this franchise together, is the production crew led by the director of David Yates, who's been helming these films since Order of the Phoenix. I like what I saw. Like he has a distinct way of grounding the world, the Wizarding world, as much as possible, with real world sensibilities. But it still maintains that fantastical element that brings us all coming back. Something that I wanted to say about how the look of these new Fantastic Beasts films are, and parts of the Harry Potter films, that because these films are a time period pieces made from the 1920s and 30s. The look of the film romanticizes that era with the soft way of how they light the characters and scenes, but there's like an overshadow of darkness that they have. It's almost like a film reel in and of itself that's being picked up and thrown on the screen for us to review. That's a time capsule for these films, and I feel as though that works just well for this particular franchise. The VFX work has been stepping up their games. I feel as though it improves with each film, and this one is definitely on point, because especially how they are able to realize the actual Fantastic Beasts in themselves. like he got some very newly ones, ones that could carry over from previous films that are like lovely realized, and like yet again from how a lot of the many subplots were very distracting in a way from the previous films. The Fantastic Beasts are actually very crucial to the plot
Yeah.
of Secrets of Dumbledore. James Newton Howard, he's been doing the music for them. These Fantastic Beasts movies. Some of his work is more subtler than.
It's not. Look. I feel as though when it comes right down to it, they have never touched the brilliance that came from the first series of Harry Potter films in the Wizarding World. These were in the Fantastic Beasts series. It's just like, okay, yeah, there is a sense of that whimsical aspect that was in those original films, but it's not nearly as great as it was in those. I mean. That's not, at the end of the day, the visual effects and the storyline is what's going to carry these ones going forward.
From looking at this film by itself and how it builds off of from what was being shown from the Fantastic Beasts series so far, we say that this is a good film.
Yeah. I definitely want to see the conclusion of the storyline, but time will tell whether or not we will actually get it on the silver screen or
possibly a HBO Max miniseries.
Yeah, and
this was originally supposed to be a 5-picture deal.
I feel as though it was always an issue with it being 5 pictures. I don't know if this is a story that needs to have been drugged out that long.
Probably most likely not.
I feel as though no, it definitely did not have to be drawn out that long. But that's where we are now, and I feel as though if this series is going to get any due justice, we have to see that conclusion.
So there we have it. That was our review for Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Guys, are y'all gonna go out here and y'all gonna watch it? I say you should. This is that if you're a diehard,
or watch it eventually.
Exactly. If you're not gonna go out and buy a ticket, do yourself the favor and catch it when you can, either at home or buy it on DVD. It's definitely something you're going to enjoy.
HBO Max or something like that.
But as always, if you want more of our content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell down there at the bottom for notifications. We want to hear from you.
My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And this has been Seeking Media Productions. Be sure to look at our social media reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
See y'all later.